Hey there. The background is light blue and you know what this means. Today we're going to be building custom Salesforce automations to eradicate the manual work from your day-to-day workflow with Salesforce. Specifically, I'm going to cover all of the different types of actions that Salesforce provides and how you can integrate it with other apps such as Google Sheets, OpenAI, Clearbit, and many more, including Gmail. If you haven't seen my last video, I've covered 5 pre-built Salesforce automations that you can start using out of the box, but this video is going to be about how to actually get them built. And by the way, if you're not yet familiar with Bardeen, it's a workflow automation tool in your browser. You can download the Chrome extension by going to the link in the description of this video. Here I have Bardeen already installed. Here we have some automations. You can search for pre-built automations over here, Salesforce, and browse through some existing automations. But for this video, we are building our very own custom automations. So I'm going to click on Create. And here on the left-hand side, I have many different apps. If you do not have Salesforce integrated yet, which you probably don't, click on this plus icon and find Salesforce over here. I have it already installed. And once you have it installed, you can click on Salesforce to see all of the Salesforce actions that are available. We can create a Salesforce contact, create an account, an opportunity, and a lead. And we can also get information about the contact, an account, an opportunity, and a lead. Getting information means that you're extracting information that's already in the Salesforce database. So for our very first use case, let's go ahead and do something extremely simple. I'm going to create a new Salesforce lead. So this is the action. And here we have different arguments in this action. We have the first and last name, the company of the person, the email, description, title, and a bunch more information. Let's go ahead and start filling out these arguments. Every time I run this automation, I want to create a new contact. So we'll have many different variables, such as the first and last name. It's going to be different every time, their email, etc. So instead of me having a fixed value, such as, hey, I'm Renat, I'm Mark, I'm somebody else, we're going to have a variable that you get to specify every time. So for the last name, I'm going to hover over this field and click on Insert. And here I get to pick Ask Me Every Time. So every time I run this automation, I get to input the last name. Let's call this last name. For the company, I'm going to pick company. And I'll do the same for the first name. This action has a few more arguments, such as the email, the description, the title, etc. It's up to you. You can also input it every time you run the automation. But for me, I have 3 variables that will be asked when I run this automation. I'm going to click on Done to save this automation, and I'll call it Create a Lead. This is the name of my automation. Let me click on Save. And just like this, our very first one action automation was built. And now I can go online. I can go to LinkedIn as I usually would. Here is a LinkedIn profile page. And now I want to create a new lead on the fly. Instead of me switching tabs every time, I can just open Bardeen with a shortcut, Option B, or by clicking on the extension icon over here. I'm going to click on this automation that we just created and input the variables. And let's click on Run Playbook. Okay, this is our Salesforce lead that we created with a shortcut. This was by far the easiest automation that you can build. It had only one action. But with Bardeen, you can do so much more. For example, here we are on this LinkedIn profile page. And what if I wanted to save the information that's already there automatically to Salesforce without having to type anything? Well, you can do exactly this. Let me show you how to build this. I'm going to open up Bardeen one more time, and let's create a new automation. The first action that we're going to use is going to scrape information from this page. It's going to copy different predefined fields. The action is called Scrape, and here we have 2 options: scrape data on the active tab, meaning the currently open tab, or data in the background, meaning that you can provide Bardeen a URL and it's going to automatically scrape the information. You don't need to have this tab open. For our use case, I'm going to scrape data on active tab. And then for this first argument, I will need to pick a scraper template. A scraper template just informs Bardeen which fields from a given website it wants to extract. The best part is that Bardeen already comes with a lot of pre-built scraper templates, so you do not need to build one from scratch. But if you want to learn how to build custom scrapers, there is a dedicated video video about that. You can click on the card over there. I'm going to type LinkedIn profile, and then here I have the pre-built scraper template. It's created by Bardeen and maintained by Bardeen. So this is it. Automatically, we're going to have about 20 fields extracted. So one action, one argument. The next thing we want to do is we want to add another action with Salesforce. Let's go to Salesforce, and then we can create a contact, we can create a lead. Let's create a lead from here. And as you already remember, we need to input all of this information. It's going to be coming from the scraper action. How do we actually do it? We'll need to split the two. For that, we have an action called split string. String is just a piece of text. Let's add a new action over here and type split string. For the input, we'll have the full name coming from the scraper action. Let's pick scraper. Scroll down, and here we have name. The second argument here is a separator. We have first name, space, last name. The separator is the space. You cannot see it here, but you can see it right there. So we're splitting the first and last name. I'm going to add another action over here and type get element from an array. What this means is that when we split the first and the last name, we have the first element and the second element, so we're going to get those two recognized. For the array, I'm going to point to the action number 2, and let's select the entire value. And here I want to get the first item. This will be our first name. And then I'm going to do the same for our last name. And here for the index is going to be the last item on the list. So let's pick last. Click on done. And just like this, we have the information for the last name. I'm going to insert a variable from action 4. For the company, we have this information coming from the scraper action. Let's find current company. And for the first name, I'm going to use action number 2. And for the email part, if the LinkedIn profile has an email, the scraper is going to pick it up. So I'm going to map it from the scraper in case it picks it up. Select email. And finally, for the description, let's get information from the about section of this profile. Or I can send all of the information that was scraped. I'm actually going to send all of the information because it might be useful. And title, obviously, title is the key. Current position. I think this is everything I need. I'm going to click on done, and let's go through the actions. The scraper action extracts all of the information. Then we're going to split the first and the last name so we can send it to the create Salesforce lead action. We're mapped all of the information coming from the scraper to this create Salesforce lead action. And the last part is the easiest. Let's click on done and name this automation. I'm going to call it LinkedIn to Salesforce. Let's click on save. And drum roll, let's go ahead and try out this automation. Yes! All right, there we have the Salesforce lead. I'm going to click on view. And just like this, a lead was created. But the most exciting part is if we go to details over here, we have the first and last name, the company, the title, the email of the person, and my favorite part, all of the information, about 20 fields that were scraped from that LinkedIn profile. Can you imagine how long it will take you to manually copy paste it? It'll be terrible. And right now, I can do it with just one click. So far, we've built 2 automations that create leads inside Salesforce. But what if we wanted to get information from Salesforce and maybe enrich it? For example, find a LinkedIn profile from an email or find their Twitter profile links. I'm going to show you how to do exactly this. Let's open up Bardeen, create a new automation, and then let's scroll down to find Salesforce. And now I want to get a Salesforce lead, just like this. We're going to use the ask me every time variable, which you're very familiar with already. Let's call it lead name. Next up, I want to look up social media profiles of this person. I'm going to add a new action, and Bardeen has the Clearbit action that does exactly this. It will find social media links from an email. Let me pick this action, and I need to provide an email address of a given person. I'm going to click on action 1 and select email. Click on done. And that's pretty much it. This is the automation. I'm going to click on done again and give this automation a name. Let's do socials from Salesforce leads. This is the name of my automation. Let me click on save, and let's run this automation, or ask for the name of the lead. And let's run this automation. Finally, I'd like to introduce you to the concept of Autobooks. Autobooks are automations that run in the background, meaning that you do not need to click on the playbook card to run it, or you do not need to input anything manually like we saw in the first automation. They run in the background when something happens in your apps, such as when an email arrives or when a new spreadsheet row is added inside Google Sheets. Let me show you how to build an Autobook. Next up, we're going to build an automation that will add information from this spreadsheet when a new row is added to our leads list in Salesforce. Here's how to do this. We're going to have two actions. The first action is going to be with Google Sheets, and the second one will be with Salesforce. So let's go ahead and name the spreadsheet. Let's call it our new leads list. And then I'm going to create some columns that I'm interested in. That's our spreadsheet setup, and now we just need to build an automation for this. I'm going to open up Bardeen and click on Create over here. And then on the left side, I'm going to pick Google Sheets and find a trigger action. So the trigger action starts with when, and when something happens in any of these apps, you can create a lead, contact, or do anything inside Google Sheets or have any other follow-up action. For our use case, I'm going to say, hey, when row is added to Google Sheet, there's another trigger when row is added or changed in the Google Sheet. But I want to avoid creating duplicates, so I'm just going to use this first action. And I'm going to link this spreadsheet. So this automation is going to run automatically when a new row is added to a Google Sheet. Our Google Sheet is called New Leads. And I'm going to pick sheet number 1. There it is. And that's how our automation is going to get triggered and is going to return the row that was just added in that Google Sheet. Next up, I want to add our Salesforce action. And here I want to create a Salesforce lead over here. And let's link the data like we did the last time. We're going to insert a variable and get it from our trigger. Click on data, and here we have all of the columns that were returned. And just like this, I've linked all of the data coming from the spreadsheet to this Salesforce action. You can add some additional variables such as the title or the website. It's really up to you. Just create the column right there and map it to this Salesforce action. Let me click on done. Click on done again to save this playbook. We're going to call it Sheets to Salesforce. Save. And very important, when you create Autobooks, just enable them because this is how they're going to run. All right, we have our automation enabled. Let's go ahead and create a new spreadsheet row. So this automation takes about 1 minute to run in the background. In order for you to see all of the instances when this automation was run, you can just open up Bardeen over here and you can click on Show Activity for this automation over here. Let's click on See Return Data, and as you can see, a new contact was created. Let's go ahead and click on View Lead, and now all of the information in this Google Sheet is magically in Salesforce. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed automating those little repetitive tasks that stand in the way. If you want to learn more about the 5 best use cases for Salesforce, what you can automate, I have a dedicated video about exactly this. You can click on the card over here to watch it next. Right here.